Hello, welcome. This is our 11th video in our series on getting started in AutoCAD. And what I'd like to show you in this film is a couple different things. We're going to go ahead and finish our cinder block here, and we're going to finish dimensioning it and kind of go over some things like object snaps and some other things that are going to help us with the enhancement and the construction of our model. So first thing we want to do is let's go back to our A-size layout and take a look at that and see how that looks. You'll notice that if you look at the dimensions and if you go to the Annotate tab and go to the Dimension pull-down menu and go to the Modify tab on that and look at the text size on it, you'll notice that the text size is 3/32 of an inch. We're not going to change that. In fact, just to reiterate, the only thing we're going to change on this tab here is our scale factor, which is 4 in this one. But you notice that this is supposed to be 3/32 of an inch, our dimensions here, which is correct. If you were going to measure that in the page, it would be 3/32 of an inch. But this text here in our title block is also supposed to be 3/32 of an inch. The only reason I'm mentioning that is because if you remember, we took our title block into D-size paper and made it 1/3 the size it was before. So the text actually here is about 1/3 of what it should be. And it's acceptable for now, but in the future, we'd probably, if we wanted to, if we spent more time in AutoCAD, probably would change that a little bit and probably make that text size a little bit bigger. But in a way, this is like a 1/4 or maybe 1/3 size sheet that we would normally see in an architectural D-size paper. So let's go ahead and look at our model a little bit closer. Let's go to our Model tab and take a look at our model. What we did is we drew this as a rectangle, and this is worth mentioning too, because if you select that rectangle and take a look at it, you'll notice that no matter what you select on it, the whole thing gets selected as one unit, kind of like a block that we saw in our title block. So there is a different ways of drawing things in AutoCAD, but the one thing to keep in mind is that the base unit in AutoCAD is a line. And a series of lines put together like polylines is called a polygon, and we'll cover this a little bit more in class a little bit later. But let's go ahead and erase it just for demonstration and show you a different way of drawing this. We're going to erase the rectangle and the dimensions, and we'll draw something in a little bit different format. We're going to draw with just basic lines. So if you click on line, and you'll notice that when we draw this out, we're going to be on the dimension layer, so it's going to be red. But we're going to ignore that for now. I'm going to show you a way to correct that when you do make this mistake, and you probably will. We're going to type in 8 for a distance, enter. Oops. Let's not do that. Let's make that 16 inches on the bottom. So we're going to type in 16, enter. We're going to go up by 8, enter, go over, and if you want to pick up this endpoint, all you have to do is drop down to that endpoint and then drag that line back up. You'll notice it kind of tracks it, which is kind of neat. And then back down and completes your rectangle that you want to draw. On a different layer, you don't have to draw anything over. Select it all, go up to your layer manager, and select the right layer, which is going to be draft. It goes automatically back to the dimension layer, so let's go ahead and dimension this. Dimension our endpoints down there. That's 1 foot 4 inches. Spacebar repeats the previous command. Dimension that out as 8 inches as what we had before. And there we have it so far. Let's go back to our draft layer and let's finish this this cinder block, this CMU. What we want to do is we selected the rectangle command. And we're going to start with this corner down here. We're going to stretch out a rectangle 5 inches by 4 inches. So stretch that out. And you'll notice that when we do stretch out that rectangle, here's some more modeling techniques, some more nomenclature here that is trying to guide us through this. There's two different ways of drawing that rectangle. If you notice, you could draw it this way with a diagonal line kind of giving you an angle. It allows you to enter the size of the rectangle on one side and an angle. Or if you move that around a little bit, that disappears and it gives you the ability, as we've used before, to enter in 2 coordinates. So we're going to type in 5 for one, and then tab, and go forward to the other one, and then enter. Now we have a 5 inch by 4 inch rectangle. Let's do this. Let's make sure our object snaps are selected correctly. If we go down to our status bar, right click on our object snap button, it should give us a option for settings. Click on settings, and what we want to do is select all of them. So click the select all button, and what you don't want is tangent, nearest, and parallel. Those things, we'll discuss this a little bit more in class, but those are all the ones that you really want. Those are the ones you're going to be using most of the time, and the ones, in my opinion, are most convenient. So let's go ahead and take this rectangle, we're going to move it. We're going to move that rectangle up to the midpoint of the big rectangle. So we're going to click the midpoint object snap, which is that green triangle. Move it up to the green square, which denotes the end point of the original rectangle that we're moving. And we're going to put that in place. Take that rectangle, we're going to move that over. And it gets moved over, according to the website, it gets moved over 2 inches. And so there we have it. That's in the right spot. Now we're going to take that and use a modification tool called the mirror command, and we're going to mirror that over to the other side. So we're going to select our objects first, go to the mirror command, and one thing you might want to notice about all of our commands up here, if we rest our cursor on those commands for just a short period of time, it actually comes up with more information. First of all, it comes up with information about what you're trying to do, and then it comes up with more descriptions. And I think some of them actually have videos to them too. But click on the mirror command. We're going to click the midpoint of our big rectangle down here and click the midpoint of the rectangle on the top. And what that does is it takes our rectangles, the smaller rectangles, that one, and mirrors it on the other side so it's symmetric. So that those two voids that those rectangles represent are going to be symmetrically in the center of the larger rectangle representing the outside of the object. So right click and then go to enter. The default setting says N if you want to erase the source objects. We don't want to do it, so we're going to press enter, and there's our CMU block. We're going to follow this up by some dimensions. Go to the dimension layer, go to our linear dimension, and put in the appropriate dimensions here. Spacebar repeats the previous command. Those are the setbacks, and these are going to be the actual dimensions of the rectangle. So you do one and then the other. Great. It's pretty darn close. It's not quite in the center here, so let's go ahead and move our viewport. And yeah, we're actually going to save that for the next video. So thank you for joining me, and join me for the next one.